You
Oh
know,
my God. And so the deal was when I was a kid, because I like started smoking weed and shit when I was like 13 or 14. I had this friend whose parents didn't give a damn. We could do whatever we want. And so we started smoking weed and drinking Zimas with Jolly Ranchers. Do you
wow.
remember? Did you ever do that?
I mean, Zima was around, but
Yeah.
I wasn't a Zima person. Do you put the
Uh,
Jolly Rancher in your mouth or in the
no,
Zima?
in the Zima.
And does it become like pink?
I don't remember, but I do know that it tasted better than it did without it. And so, uh, the deal was that if I didn't get up and go to church with them, that I couldn't go hang out with my friend that day. So it was more like, and then I remember one day I'd stayed out really drunk, ate some mushrooms, and she came in my room and she was like, if you don't, you just tell God, you tell Jesus, or I forgot what she said, but if he comes by, tell him we went to church. I was like, well, I'll just tell him then because I'm not getting up. I'm hungover. So,
Wow.
oh God, should I tell you about how I found out about his ID? Okay, I feel
Yes.
awful. I feel terrible
Why?
because I was mean and I somehow there was like a gun in the house and like we were tripping and like spun out and he just kept like talking and talking. He was like, Jenn, 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 trust me, trust me, trust me. And I told him to shut up and he wouldn't shut up. So I like hit him in the back of the head with a gun.
You pistol whipped him in the back of the head, tripping with a gun.
Yes.
What were you tripping on?
I don't remember.
And they don't want to take you off the opiates or the Klonopin because they don't want the baby to go into shock, right?
Exactly. Right. Before I know it, the drug task force at my door. And they are kicking that fucking thing in. And they turn. Have you ever seen a house that's been raided by the cops?
Only on TV.
Dude, it was insane, man. Like they demolished my house. So have you ever seen anybody fake a seizure?
Again on TV. But tell me. So you so what'd you do?
I started flopping like a fish in my front yard so they wouldn't take me to jail.
How are you, Jenn?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm ready for the holidays to come and go, though, for real.
What's up with this winter solstice? What's up with your belief in the winter solstice?
So I love. I
Or let
think
me
I like.
rephrase. Let me rephrase that. What's up with your cockamamie belief in the winter solstice?
Well, I get seasonal depression. I think maybe like a little bit. Like I don't like the cold. I don't like the whole like it gets dark at 4 o'clock thing. And so tonight is the longest night of darkness. And after tonight, we'll start getting our longer daytime back.
Yeah, it does feel like a very dark time. But that
Yeah,
also means it also feels like it hasn't been short days for that long. I always imagined the
yeah.
days after today were shorter than the days before today. But you're saying that today is the peak of short
Today's
day.
the peak. Yeah, it's the shortest daylight time, longest nighttime. And
All
then
right.
then it reverses, and so we're gonna start getting the extra daylight.
Coming back to the light.
Mm-hmm. And I
Well,
need that.
well,
I need that.
you are a sun worshiping
Love it.
hippie from the South. Your name is Jenn Dawson. You are a legend in the hippy dippy woo woo yellow balloon world, and I welcome you to the show. It's very. I've gotten to know you a little bit through us talking about yellow balloon stuff. You're friends
Yeah.
with Dopey, hardcore greats, the associate producer of the show, Eric Papa Smurf, and Cece, my ex part-time personal assistant.
Love them so much, both of them.
Yes, they love you too. They speak very highly of you. And they both said, "Oh my God, Jenn is so amazing, but her story is so fucked up."
It's so fucked up. It's so fucked up.
So where did you grow up?
So I was born in Chattanooga, and then my dad worked for like this like power company, so we transferred to like Muscle Shoals, Florence, Alabama, when I was really young. So I don't really even remember living there very much, but I was probably like 5. So I grew up here pretty much.
Chattanooga,
Muscle.
Tennessee to Muscle
Mm-hmm.
Shoals.
Mm-hmm.
And what was your family like when you were a kid?
Oh my God, Dave. They were like angel babies. Like nobody in my family did anything. I've never seen my parents fight or drink or use any drugs. I have 2 older brothers. Never. It's crazy. They're just kind of like normal people. But I found out though, after, when you go to treatment, they talk about um it's like a family, it's hereditary, blah blah blah. I remember my uncle dying when I was really little, and nobody ever really talked about it. It was like, oh, he just died or whatever. It's like, okay. Well, come to find out, like he was on drugs. So he died from drugs. And then my dad's side was they were all alcoholics. They're all Irish alcoholics pretty much.
What kind of drugs killed your uncle?
I don't know. I don't think that they know. I don't think that, back then, I mean, I feel like there was like a time when these people just didn't talk about it. They didn't really like, it was just kind of not so much a hush hush thing, but they just like didn't really seem involved with it or concerned with it. They just, maybe my dad may know, but he's never told me.
Well, this maybe at Christmas you could say, "So, what killed your brother? What was
Yeah,
it?
I could.
Yeah, it could be a good
Yeah.
Christmas
I
icebreaker."
do, yeah, 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 totally. I do know that he was he was in like the war and stuff. Like all the guys in my family were all military people, military guys. My dad was in the Air Force. He was in the Army. His dad was something else. I just, shit like
So
that.
when did you start seeing yourself as different from your family?
Oh my God, when I was like really little, I felt like a weirdo. Like I remember being like, because I grew up in like a Southern Baptist church. Like my mom scared the shit out of us with that I remember that from a very young age. And I remember just like being with all these other kids in like Sunday school, like the little lock-ins and all the stuff that we did, and feeling like I didn't like fit in with them, or like didn't really fit, like I didn't really belong.
What was scary?
What was scary? Oh
Because
my God.
you said your mom like freaked you out. Like, what was scary?
So the deal was when I was a kid.
Yeah, come tell me. I can see you
Oh
want.
my God. And so the deal was when I was a kid, because I like started smoking weed and shit when I was like 13 or 14. I had this friend whose parents didn't give a damn. We could do whatever we want. And so we started smoking weed and drinking Zimas with Jolly Ranchers. Do you
Wow.
remember? Did you ever do that?
I mean Zima was around, but
Yeah.
I wasn't a Zima person. Do you put the
Uh,
Jolly Rancher in your mouth or in the
no,
Zima?
in the Zima.
And does it become like pink?
I don't remember, but I do know that it tasted better than it did without it. And so, uh, the deal was that if I didn't get up and go to church with them, that I couldn't go hang out with my friend that day. So it was more like, and then I remember one day I'd stayed out really drunk, ate some mushrooms, and she came in my room and she was like, if you don't, you just tell God, you tell Jesus, or I forgot what she said, but if he comes by, tell him we went to church. I was like, well, I'll just tell him then because I'm not getting up. I'm hungover. So
Wow. So wait, hold up. You start smoking weed with some friends when you're 13, 14, and the next thing you know, you're tripping, drunk, and your mom saying Jesus comes by, tell him you go to church. Like, how does it go from being like this innocent to that? Like, it sounds like it was like next week.
yeah, dude, it was pretty quick. Like, I mean, I had this friend and her parents were like, they let us do what we were out driving like a 1987 Buick when we were like 14 years old. Like, her parents just didn't, it was like the party house. So let's do what we wanted to do. Probably because they were fucked up too. So, but we didn't really know that because we were kind of just like young or whatever. And yeah, it went from like, I remember, I hear, honestly though, like I hear a lot of people like in the rooms or speaker meetings where they're like, I remember the first time I got high. I remember the first I was like fucking
Tell
I
me
mean,
the story. Tell the story.
well, when I was like 13, probably younger than that, Dave, I don't even remember, but they, that was a time when, like, if you couldn't sit still and be quiet in a classroom, you had ADD. And so they put me on Adderall when I was like 11 or something. I think they started me out on Ritalin and then it went to Adderall. So, like, my first, like, dose of dope was from a doctor.
So they give you Ritalin when you're 11 because you're bouncing off the walls.
Oh, yeah.
You know, you're
Yeah.
bright and a talker and bouncing off the walls in your southern home, and they're like, "Oh shit, this kid talks too much. We gotta figure this
We got to
out."
calm her down.
So they give you Ritalin. Do you remember how it felt?
No.
Do you remember what it felt like? Also, like, because you're talking about 11 to 13, like they indoctrinate you with this drug, and then
Yeah.
you take this drug, and then I think probably by the time you meet the 13-year-old, you're like, well, I take drugs anyway.
Yeah. Totally.
So, like, were
Totally.
you
That's
talk to me? I'm
totally
listening.
how it went down. That was totally how it went down. And then, when I was, on the amphetamine, like the Adderall and stuff, like somebody's like, "Here, smoke this." And I'm like, "Well, fuck it. Let me have it." So we would smoke pot and then lived out in the country. So they were like, I love I mean, I don't outdoor mushrooms are okay, but like the field caps in the South are so good. And we found some mushrooms out in the pasture because that's just kind of what we did as kids here. We didn't have phones, so we were out tromping around in people's property, trespassing.
Now, me being somebody who grew up in Manhattan and there were not mushrooms growing behind our apartment building or anything,
Yeah.
explain how it works. Like, how do you go tromping around and find fucking psilocybin mushrooms?
So we knew that after it rained was prime time. So we would get up and go out like, 6 when the dew drops, especially. And when you go out, there's like mushrooms everywhere. As long as those cows are grain fed, there's psilocybin everywhere in the South anyway, because it's warm.
Are you on a farm right now?
Yeah.
Are there mushrooms aplenty out there right now?
I mean, I haven't went and looked since I got sober, but I'm sure.
So
Because
how does it even work that, like, how do you know which mushroom you can eat? How do you know what's what? Like, how do you know you're not eating some
well,
fucking poisonous mushrooms?
well, the mushrooms that we like are like copper tops. They look like nipples.
So you knew exactly what they were.
Yeah.
And everyone knew what they were. You smoke weed first. Did you drink? Were you drinking then?
I mean, I remember drinking a little bit, but I gotta say, when I drink alcoholically, but I don't like alcohol that much. Like I'd rather do drugs.
Me too. And I like that you described mushrooms as nipples. I don't think I'll
Oh
never forget.
yeah,
I'll never forget that. I did a lot of mushrooms. I never noticed their nippleness.
yeah.
But I also never picked a mushroom and ate it. I only bought mushrooms off of whoever, sketchy fucking guys. You
So
know,
one of the last few times I was in New York City with the guy I was telling you about, we had gotten some indoor mushrooms up there and they were blue. They were like indigo blue. And we went and saw infected mushroom. And that shit
bougie.
was
The
shit was
blue.
shit was crazy.
How is the blue mushroom versus the nipple mushroom?
I don't know. The blue mushrooms made me feel like I had dirt in my mouth, but they were real trippy.
So take us back to being a young girl, teenager in fucking Muscle Shoals, Alabama, eating nipple mushrooms, tromping around in the field, smoking weed. What's the life like? And
So
like,
the
is there any like feeling that you're like, I'm gonna be a fucking fucked up, crazy drug addict hippie at that point?
so the difference between where I live and where you live is when it comes to that is in a small town in the South, there's not a lot to do for like young people. Even to this day, I worry about my own kid. She's 18. So, and I've seen it a lot too, because I mean, I work in treatment and it hasn't really changed much. So, like, when I was growing up, you either like got into stuff like that, or there really just wasn't anything to do except that, because
Sports, right? Probably kids did sports,
they
like
did like,
sex.
yeah, probably, yeah, totally. But I mean, there was like when I go to Nashville or even Huntsville, like there's indoor rock climbing, there's hockey rinks, there's all kinds of stuff for like younger people to go do, and we didn't really have that, so we were just like itching to get into something. So we started doing the obvious, what was always there, because I mean it's pretty saturated with drugs and alcohol around in these small towns for real.
And when do you stumble upon hippie stuff?
I went to my first Phish show in 99, and that was a time when there were like I live in a college town, so it's called UNA, the University of North Alabama. It's pretty like decent college, and a lot of people came here to go to school, and then like all of a sudden, I used to sell them my Adderall is how I met a lot of them, but they it was when all the weed growing was going on and all the stuff like that, so they all wanted to move to Colorado. So it was like that little like space in life where there were people trying to get out of here. They were discovering that you could move to Colorado and like grow weed. And so there was a couple of hippie dudes here, and they said, "You want to go to a Phish show?" And I was like, "I don't know who the fuck Phish is, but let's go." And I had been listening to them like in the cars and on our CD players and stuff like that. But, you didn't really see who they were. And I remember going into the tabernacle, and there were these four dudes standing on stage looking at them, and I was like, that's who we've been listening to. That's so crazy. That's so crazy. I don't know what I was expecting, but they were like in
You,
flannel shirts.
you
You
weren't
know,
expecting four nerds from Vermont on the stage.
definitely not. No,
So before you show up at Fish, like, are you full hippie though? Like, are you listening to
no,
hippie music, wearing hippie clothes, doing hippie
no.
things? All right, so
Mm-mm.
so you go to your first Fish show and tell us the story as best you can.
So I had a friend, and maybe anybody listening to this, his name was B. We lost him. He passed away from heroin, I believe. He died of an overdose. But I had never seen heroin. I was really, really young. I was probably like, I don't know, 16, 17. And I had met a girl here, and her and B, which was her boyfriend, um, they had already been following Fish around. And then the two guys that were planning to move to Colorado to grow weed or whatever. And I went on tour with them, and B used to play the ukulele. He also introduced me to Blind Melon. I fucking love Blind Melon. I'm a Blind Melon fan. And he used to play the ukulele on lot, and he would pass out when he was driving. We'd have to slap him on his shoulder. He was a big, big guy. He was huge. And he told me he had narcolepsy. And I was like, this dude's got fucking narcolepsy and he's driving. Like, what the hell's going on? I didn't really think much about it. Come to find out, he wasn't narcoleptic. He
He's
was,
nodding out.
yes. Yeah, he was like, oh, I'm just narcoleptic. And I was like, that sounds scary, dude.
But hold up, you made a big jump. You go to the first Fish show and then you're on tour with fucking Fish and Blind Melon.
Yeah,
What
yeah,
what what
yes.
was what happened at the first one that made you be like, I need to be here?
If I'm being honest, there wasn't much thought.
It just hit
I
you.
was, I was just, let's go, you know. And then, and that's the thing too, is that like I don't really remember being at a lot of those shows because when you're spun out, like I mean, one of my best friends, Bobby, gave me tickets to a show, and I asked him how much they were, and he was like, "Well, what was the opener of your first show?" And I was like, "I don't fucking know." It was, free. So that was the
Because
name of the song.
right. So people, wait, say that. Explain that to me.
What do you mean?
Are you saying? You just were too spun out to know who was playing, or you're saying that people gave you the tickets?
He gave me the tickets and told me, I asked him how much were they, and he was like, "Do you remember the opener of your first show?" And I said, "No, because I don't remember.
I
I
don't
don't.
remember anything. I
Me
understand
either."
that. So
Yeah.
at what point uh does like your drug escalation happen? Like as soon as you get into it, are you just about it and that's that? Because it sounds like
No,
it.
Jay. No, my escalation. I was talking to Fred last night about it. What almost killed me was opiates and heroin, and that didn't come until I was in my 30s.
Really? So
Yes.
what's your like give us I don't want to jump there. I want to know about like cuz obviously like every alcoholic and drug addict simmers in a different sort of way. Like
Yeah.
I started doing opiates in my mid 20s, but I was a crazy weed person, psychedelic person, and I liked hippie trappings more than I only went to one Phish show. My first show was in '99 also. I went to see the Dead a few times. You know, I saw the Dead
Yeah.
between I want to say 91 and 95 a few times. And I went all over the city to see whatever kind of shows I could see. But I loved drugs. I loved weed. I loved psychedelics.
Yeah.
And then I didn't like coke. I didn't have access to pills too much. And then when I did heroin, I was like, I liked
That
it.
was
And
it.
yeah. So like how are you like one of these kids like once you're in the psychedelic jam band world you're just tripping out a lot? Are you always high? Are you always smoking weed? Like what's the scene like before? Because to get into opiates in your 30s is very late.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. I just I wasn't always in the hippie scene. I went and did that for a while, and then ended up moving to Huntsville. That's where I met the guy I was telling you about. And then
Did you guys get together then?
yeah, yes, and he moved to Alabama
And
from
he was your what's his name?
Jackson.
And he was like your soulmate.
Yeah.
Tell us the story about how you met him in the story.
So we got really crazy. We met on Fish Tour, and you know, they t- I have to re-examine a lot of my past relationships after getting sober to see like were they really like just influenced with drugs and alcohol? Were the feelings really real? And he was like literally my best friend. And when we jumped off tour, came back to Alabama and hung out, we had gotten introduced to these shards. There were these like looked like crystals, like something you would take off of a quartz crystal. And we had found this truck driver named his boy Elroy from California, and he would run this shit through here. And I don't even know if that was his real name, but whatever. And he was actually kind of cool. He was a cool dude, and he brought that, and we had found a little place to live in Huntsville. And I didn't know that Jackson had been um, doing like a lot of identity theft, and
Wait, what were the shards?
it was like meth, but it just doesn't look like the meth they do today. I don't know what the difference is, but
Super crystally meth, you're saying.
yeah, we did like activities and like remodeled shit, and the yard looked like the botanical gardens. We never thought anybody was trying to get us. Like we that paranoid shit was never there. It
How
was
would you take it? You snorted it? You smoked it?
I would smoke the shit out of that. Again, I did not start using needles until I started doing the heroin. Um and we would just go chomp around the Bankhead National Forest. We had fun on that shit and did all kinds of fun stuff. And then I started to realize he had a lot of warrants from Rye and like New York City, because he had like bought identity. I had never been. I'm from the South. Like we don't, I don't know how he did it, but he was he had bought like an identity, and his name was Thiago Fontini. And I don't know where he got this ID, but he had his like picture. It was like the name, social security number, everything. And he would do like have packages mailed. Some of the stuff that he did I didn't really understand, but um we ended up moving to back down to where I was actually from, where I live. And oh God, should I tell you about how I found out about his ID? Okay, I feel
Yes.
awful. I feel terrible
Why?
because I was mean, and I somehow there was like a gun in the house, and like we were tripping and like spun out, and he just kept like talking and talking. He was like, Jenn, 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 trust me, trust me, trust me. And I told him to shut up, and he wouldn't shut up. So I like hit him in the back of the head with a gun.
You pistol whipped him in the back of the head, tripping with a gun.
Yes.
What were you tripping on?
I don't remember.
Okay.
We may have just been up for days.
Where did the gun? Where, did you? How long did you know he had the gun? Forever.
I didn't know he had it for very long, and so I ended up having to take him to the ER. And when I came into the ER room, I saw this big syringe that said Thiago Fontini on it, and I was like, "Who the fuck is Thiago Fontini?" And he had warrants, so he used that ID to go into the ER. Both of us were spun the fuck out. So we ended up stealing all of the utensils, all of the medicine and the suture and all that, and I went home and sutured that guy's head up.
After you fucking bashed it in with the pistol.
Yes. So
Wait.
I cleaned it up. That was my bad. I shouldn't have done that. So let me sew you up and make it better.
So it seems like Jackson was a big proponent in your drug history.
Yes, we were fucking insane.
So you
So then
meet
we
him, and you find out basically he's involved in crazy meth
yes,
business and with a fake ID and with
fake
warrants. So tell so and you fall madly in love with him
yeah, of course.
and drugs.
Yeah. So we moved back to Florence, and you know, in my little town, there's like cops. You know, you're gonna get if you got warrants, they're gonna get you. I don't know how he ended up getting caught, but he did, and they extradited him from my little town all the way up to New York, and he did about a year in prison up there, maybe two. It was long enough for me to fall in love with my pot dealer, and we ended up like having a little girl. And that's where Cypress came from. And so he called me in Nashville somewhere on 65, and
And
he
hold on,
was
Jen, let me say this to you really quickly. Say everything, and then afterwards, if you need me to take anything out, I'll take it out.
okay.
Don't
Okay.
don't sit here and think like what can I say and what can I say. Just
Okay.
say everything, and I'll take out anything you want me to take out.
I pistol whipped somebody, Dave. If
I
you
know.
knew, that's so
Well, I
bad.
think you're the first person in the history of the show to admit to pistol whipping somebody while tripping and then sewing them up. So that's a distinction. And I think that these are the stories that make our show very special, Jen. So I
Yeah.
appreciate that. So you fall in love with your weed dealer. He knocks you up while Jackson's in prison,
We lived on a sailboat
no way. Where?
in the harbor down here. It was fun.
So what happened to that relationship, and what was your life like as a young drug addict mother?
It was not good. It was not good. So Jackson called me in Nashville and was like, "I'm on my way home." And I was like, "Dude, you can't come back here. Like, I've done had a kid. Like, I got a whole boyfriend. Like, we live in a house. Like, life is okay." And because I wasn't really super spun out with her. Like, everything was kind of, it wasn't like
It's because
crazy.
Jackson wasn't. It's because Jackson wasn't around.
Yeah, it was okay. And so when he got here, he came to my house. I was like, dude, you can't be here. And so I put him in my car and I called a friend and I was like, hey, this is what's going on. Can you house him and so we can get him a bus ticket or like something because he was dropped off, you know. So I was like, can we get, you know, till we can get him a bus ticket, can he stay at your house or whatever? And my friend Adam was like, yeah, sure. So Adam was fucking spun out too. So Adam gave him drugs, and he had been in prison, so I'm sure he did some shit when he was in prison, but not like that, you know.
What'd he give him?
Probably meth pills, you know. So Jackson came over to my house again, and I put him in my car, and I was like, "Look, like you're gonna like fuck everything up. I can't, you know, I can't do this anymore." And I wish you would have called me before you came, and I could have like, you know, explained all this to you. But I got up to this red light in 7 Points, and you know, he had a history of like suicide attempts, and he jumped out of my car and he hit his top of his head on the curb. And I freaked out because I was like, what the fuck is happening right now? And so we had to call an ambulance, and he went down to the hospital and was put on life support. And I had to call his mom, and he wasn't going to recover from it. Not this time.
I thought that happened up here.
No, that happened here. That
So,
happened here.
so you never got really back with him.
Mm-mm.
Okay. So he dies, and that's got to be horribly traumatic for you because he comes
Yeah.
to find you, decides he needs to be with you, even though you can't possibly be with him at this point.
Yeah.
And he
Yeah.
dies kind of on your watch in your car. Like, I'm sure. So, how have you, before we get on with your horrible drug addiction, how did you deal with that? Like, how did you deal with that trauma? How did you deal with that tragedy? I'm sorry.
I don't think that
happened.
I did. You know, I don't think that I did. Not in that moment. You know, I was in, when I went to treatment, and I know we'll get into that, but I was there for a year with no phone, no social media, no boyfriend, no sex, no going to Walmart without 5 other women with you. Like, I did a lot of like healing there. Like, that's where I processed it at. Cause I think I shoved it all down I just didn't deal with it and just kept getting higher and higher and higher, you know?
So when he dies, what you just get on with your life. You have your daughter and you have your boyfriend and you're on a boat.
Yeah, I did fly to New York though. I went back up there and did like the funeral and with his family and sat with his mom and
He
you
was from
know,
Westchester. He was from Rye.
mm-hmm. His mom lived in Greenwich, it's Connecticut.
Connecticut. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's that little world.
Yeah.
Like yeah. I went to school. I went to college right next to Rye. So we would
Yeah.
purchase a town called Harrison. We would always go to there's a sound in Rye and a beach, and we would go there and drink whiskey and smoke weed and whatever.
That's the sound is where his dad committed suicide.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
So
So it
he
was,
was
yes, you see the pattern. It was kind of, you know, way he I don't really know what he was thinking that day. Like, I'm not really convinced that he was trying to die. I think it was just a freak accident for real.
how old was he?
We were, see, he was probably 27.
He probably was high and he didn't know what he was doing and out of his mind and opened the
Hmm.
car door. And how fast do you think you were going?
I was literally rolling up to a red light.
So it just was horrible, horrible
It was the
luck.
way he fell, the way that he jumped out.
So how do you get on with your life at that point?
More drugs.
What were you doing? Were you working? And
Then Cypress was probably, she was little, like she was probably maybe not even one, but you know, then I was still smoking a lot of weed, probably taking like those, because by then I was prescribed Klonopins and Adderall. That was the two staples in my life. I had Adderall and Klonopin all the time.
oh, they go really well together too.
Yeah,
The
yeah,
the doctor
totally.
the doctor
Yeah,
really knew what he was doing there.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
nobody ever prescribed me Adderall. Um, I took a ton of benzos. I'd never took I firmly believe that if I was on Adderall right now, I would be like so successful.
Yeah,
I have
totally.
that delusion that if I had Adderall, like that's the one thing that's
Yeah.
keeping me down is not having Adderall.
And I also think that the benzos is what took me the is what caused me to take so long to like get my thinking back and like my I think that the Klonopin takes forever to get over. Like I got sober and I was weird and crazy for 3 years until like, it really took that long for me anyway.
So you're 27, you're mourning this man, you have a baby, you're getting prescribed basically speedballs, right?
Yeah.
Some version of it.
Yeah.
And what's your life like? And you're smoking a ton of weed with your stoner boyfriend.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank God my mother helped me a lot with with Cy. She was over there a lot.
Was she worried? Was your mother worried about you?
You know, I say this, but I also have to say that I probably wouldn't have listened. Nobody ever said to me in my whole career of using, "Do you need some help?" Like, you're pretty fucked up. Like, you're running your whole entire life into the ground. But after that was, I think, was my first stint in treatment. I don't really remember being there, but I know that I went.
At what point was that?
I think that was probably within the next year. I went to my first rehab. I went to Turning Point in Moultrie, Georgia. And it was like a 28-day program with a detox built into it. And I remember coming in and they had these phones, like gel phones on the wall. And I was so scared. And my boyfriend and my best friend dropped me off like a bad habit. And I went in there and grabbed the phone. I called my mom and I was like, "Hey, I don't want to leave, but I just need you to say that if I wanted to leave, you'd come get me." It was like some sort of weird manipulation that I was doing to myself. And so she was like, "Well, I would come get you, but I don't think you need to leave." And I was like, "Okay." And I stayed the whole time. Like it was like I stayed. I had a really cool therapist there. His name was Lee Keesing. I don't think he's Earthside anymore, but every morning before group, he would blast the Grateful Dead every morning before group. And there was something about that. I didn't really hear anything else that he said, but like, I just wasn't ready yet, but I won't ever forget him. Like he planted a seed for sure.
What
For
else do you
sure.
remember about that run in treatment? And how did you even wind up going? If nobody's like you're all fucked up, like how did you know to go?
So my kid's dad's best friend, he was the biggest cokehead. He used to walk around with like caked up white boogers in his nose. He got sober. And so after he got sober, he was telling Jeff, "But Jen needs to get sober. She's fucking crazy. She's like high as fuck." You know.
Did
So
you
they
do
were
a
like,
did you do a bunch of coke with that guy?
"Oh yeah.
Yeah. That's the giveaway. Once you're doing drugs with the person who gets sober, you're fucked.
Yeah, so fucked." So that's where all that came about. And then I came home and the first thing I did was smoke a bowl. And then that let down my guard. I was like, "Well, I'm just gonna go down to the pharmacy and get my refill of Klonopin," and then we were back off to the races again. You know.
Well, how so you were how old were you in your late 20s?
So Cypress is 18. I'm 46. I suck at math. I was probably like, I don't even know.
Doesn't matter. 18, you're 46, that puts you I'm bad at math too. Let's not
Me
even
too. I
try.
suck at
Let's
it.
not even try.
Fuck
So
that. Yeah.
so like when I first went to treatment, I went for heroin, but I didn't want to stop smoking weed, you know what I mean? Like I had no intention to not smoke weed. So I got out of treatment and I had weed, I wasn't going to not smoke weed. Weed was my kind of thing. Like
Yeah.
I didn't want to live without bud.
Yeah.
But I also the second I ever smoked weed, I wanted benzos too. So you leave that spot and like 12-step abstinence recovery, any of that shit is not on the table. It's more like I'm all fucked up. I need to get my shit together, but I can handle smoking a little bud.
Yeah, I was fucked up. I was real fucked up, Dave. Because, so shortly after that, so I was 6 when I ended up going to jail. Um, oh God. I hate when you tell your story and you're just like, I don't want to tell that because it makes me feel crazy. But I want to
Listen,
tell.
you're
I want to tell it
sober.
anyway.
You want to hear the quotes I got about you before you feel bad about yourself, or do you want to hear them later?
I'll tell it and then you can tell me because I'll need
Okay.
to be lifted up a little
Okay.
bit.
Okay.
So, I did a lot of stuff that I'm definitely not proud about and don't get Mom of the Year for. But one day I left the house and I had dabbled a little bit in like like Lorsets or whatever, and they kind of made me sick, so I didn't really like them too much. But then I figured out if you keep taking them, they don't make you sick anymore. So this is where like the opiates started to like come into my life,
Who
and
gives
I
it to you?
also
Who gives it to you first?
um I can't even remember.
Okay. I
You know
didn't mean to
there.
interrupt you.
there yeah, there was also a time in my life where you could get online and order Lorsets to your house. Do you remember that? I did
I
that
never,
too.
I never ordered anything, but yes, I know of the experience.
And the other day, it's this big guy. He's the UPS man, and he put up in my driveway out here in the county because I don't live in town anymore, and I live on like I don't even have any neighbors. And I asked him, I was like, "Do you remember me?" And he was like, "Kinda." He was like, "Did you live on Willingham Road a few years, like several years ago?" And I was like, "Yeah." I just want to tell you, I got sober, but I used to chase him around downtown in the UPS truck to get those pills off his truck.
Yeah, there's nothing better than getting pills delivered to you. Like,
Oh, dude.
I had very few experiences of it, but when I did, you're hunting down that mailman like he's the fucking drug dealer.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so Laura sets. What other shit?
So Lorcets and the Percocets
Yeah,
started
yeah.
coming in, and I was starting to like hang out with people outside of like my baby daddy's friend group. Started to kind of venture out with some other people that were using a little harder than he ever did. Like he's just like one of those people. He just smokes weed. That's all he does. He just smokes weed. He used to do a little coke with me, but he was when he was just like set it down and never touch it again. Or he would eat some mushrooms with me, and it's just like sporadic. Like he was never like one that got out of control, right? So one day I was leaving, and I saw this cute guy with a backpack, and he was hitchhiking through town, and I picked him up. And he lived farther out than me, almost into Tennessee, on a little like compound with his family. There's also like a hippie farm here. It's called Summertown, Tennessee. If you've never checked it out, check it out. I grew up going out there. It's fucking awesome. But anyway, so I get out there and he has like a backpack full of like Molly and mushrooms and all my favorite little tryptamines or whatever. And we got really spun out. I left home, went out there and stayed like the weekend, never called, never checked in. And I remember like sitting down in the woods and seeing this spider that looked like it was that big. And I thought I was just tripping. So I like poked it with a stick. And I was like, what the fuck? And like all these babies like come off the spider. And I never felt anything bite me ever. But about 6 hours later, my foot was the size of an old school mailbox.
Oh my god.
And I had to be carried out of the woods, hitchhiked back to this dude's house, and had to get somebody to come get me. I forgot who came and got me, but I had to go to the ER and was going to these doctors. Of course, they were like, well, she's just a drug addict. We don't know what's wrong with her foot, yada, yada, yada. Started going to the Huntsville, ended up going to the Huntsville hospital, and they like because by this time like the side of my foot was starting to rot off, like it was gnarly. And they told me it was because I smoked cigarettes, and I was like, no, dude, like something is fucking wrong here, like for real.
Your foot
And
is
they
the size of a mailbox, and they're like, maybe you should cut down on smoking cigarettes. It's like, what the fuck is that?
exactly. And so, and it's crazy because I see it all the time now in working in recovery, how hospitals treat addicts and alcoholics. It's pretty fucking sad. But they wanted to amputate my foot. Dave, I was in a wheelchair for like 6 months. They told me I was never going to walk again. And they wanted to amputate my left foot. Here, I'll show it to you one day. And
Let me see. Let's see.
so, hold on. Let's see. Can I turn the camera around?
I don't know.
Can you see it? Do you see that? So anyway, so I ended up telling them that they weren't going to take my foot. It was probably the only time in my life my hard-headedness came in for the good. And so they decided they were going to put stents in my legs and like these little balls in my heel to keep like the blood flow or whatever. And I walked around. I was in a wheelchair for like 6 months while I healed and finally started to walk again. But during this time, I had a great excuse to go sign up to this big fucking awesome pain clinic in Huntsville. And I met this doctor who ended up going to prison, but I was getting like 180 Roxys, 180 Klonopins, fentanyl patches. Like you could pay an extra $80 to be on his VIP
Wow.
patient list.
So, like,
Yeah.
basically, you meet this cute hippie guy. He takes you to some fucking backwoods spot. You have some crazy weekend with him that results with you going into the forest, a giant spider biting your foot, and you're like,
Yeah.
this is like one of the
Yeah.
crazier things I've ever heard. And you
It's
wind up
fucking nuts.
in a pain clinic in Huntsville, Alabama.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
he's giving you the VIP pass for fentanyl patches and
Dude,
fucking.
yes. Like I was taking enough, he was giving me enough medicine to kill an animal, like for real.
And I'm sure
But I was eating it up. I fucking loved it. I
Yeah.
was like, I'm here for it.
Dude, you fucking are like, I hit the lottery. This is the greatest opportunity of my life. The spider
Yeah.
biting me has given me all the drugs I could ever want. So
Yeah.
that's got to be hard as a mother. And I'm sure it was hard for your stoner baby daddy. What happens there?
Oh yeah. I left. I never came home, Dave. And I moved out.
Where'd you go
got my
to?
own- I moved in. Me and that fucking hitchhiker got a house in Florence. We rented this little green house, and it was, it's crazy when you think about who I am today and like who I was then. Like, I don't know what I was thinking. I was out of my mind, completely out of my mind. And he had found this Chinese chemist on the black web or some shit. And we were getting like all these research chemicals and 5-MAO and Foxy and just like all this stuff. And he was having it shipped. Again, another guy, he was like fucking with the mail, like federal fucking offenses. And he was having them shipped to other addresses, and he would go and he would get the package before that person that lived there seen it. Well, one day, some lady like opened up the package before he could get to it, and she called the police. And I remember going out on the porch all the time to smoke cigarettes or whatever, and looking down, I could see these 4 cop cars sitting in the public pool parking lot. And I was like, they're not watching me. They're not watching me. There's no fucking way they're watching me. You know? And that went on for like months. And then I found out I was pregnant again. And Dave, my fucking story is so crazy. I forgot to tell you that, like, by this time, I was getting a disability check because I had given myself drug-induced epilepsy.
When did that happen?
Oh, God, that happened.
What drug induced the epilepsy also?
So, okay, so the chemist guy, the Chinese chemist guy had made me a synthetic opiate. And I would only do it when I didn't have any heroin. or Roxy's or
When
something.
does if we listen? Now you're going too fast. Now I need to slow you down. Okay, so you move in with fucking Hitchhiker guy, who I picture to be kind of like a skateboarding version of Charles
He was,
Manson
yeah,
in my head.
yeah, yes.
So, and he's getting research chemicals from China. When's the first time you do heroin off of the pain clinic?
So after I started going to the pain clinic, I was getting all the Roxy's. A friend of mine taught me how to put 3 of those Roxy's in a ladle from the kitchen and shoot them up. So by this time, I was already shooting dope.
That was the first time. Like he brings over your friend is a
Yes,
man or woman,
woman.
and she brings over a needle, and she's like, I don't know why you're not shooting these. Let's
Yes,
ladle this shit up and see what
yeah,
we can
fuck it.
do.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. And then the Chinese chemist, what kind of research? And just so you know, our audience can handle this, Jen. Our audience is a
Okay,
bunch of horrible drug addicts. A lot of
okay,
them are
good.
sober, and you will be helping them. You will not be hurting anybody. So just know
Okay.
that. It's very important. You are at home and you are safe here. I just want to say that. You feel safe,
Thank
right?
you.
Do you feel safe and at
I
home?
do. I
Okay.
do. Yeah, yeah, I
Okay.
do.
Anyway, what kind of research chemicals?
So we would something called Foxy that looked like pink pixie dust. It was the best. You could have sex all night on that shit. It was amazing. And then we would do like 5-MAOT, 5-MAOT, something, so all kind of weird shit. But there was this one thing that I don't even know what the name of it was. We got him to make this for me. It was a synthetic opiate. But every time I would, and I only did that when like I absolutely had nothing else and I was fucking sick because the hitchhiker guy didn't do opiates.
But
He
he knew
hated
you.
them.
He knew you were strung out post spider bite.
Yes. Yes. So he got me this synthetic opiate and every time I would do it, 24 hours to the second, I would have a grand mal seizure. Like I've busted out teeth, I've broken bones, I've gotten my foot caught up underneath the couch. Like every time, it was like if you want to hear like the definition of insanity, that is it.
Give me your
And
best. Give me your best. I had a lot of seizures too. So give me your best seizure story.
so I remember being at my mom's house and I was sitting on her couch and I guess I started to flip out and like when I came to, I knew that my mom was sitting beside me, but I was like yelling for her, like she was in another country. It was so weird. And then another time I was down at a park, but I would see these orbs. Did you ever see an orb?
I don't. I have no idea what happened. But keep going. What kind of orbs?
It was like a yellow, like bright orb, and if I looked at that orb in my vision, it would I can just see, I just spun out. Like it was I fucking hit the ground. And I don't remember anything after that, but
For me, it always felt like I fell asleep. Like I could fall. I mean,
oh no.
I fell out of a loft bed. Like I fell out of a loft bed onto a bong, shattered the bong on the ground. Fucking cops come, bit my tongue in half. They're dragging me out. I'm trying to hold the door so they can't take me out. And when I wake up, I just felt like I had fallen asleep. You know, like, and I had seized
Yeah.
on planes. I thought I was falling asleep. Every place I seized, I was like, oh, I must have just nodded off there for a second. And meanwhile, I'm in full on fucking
Yeah.
grand mal seizure.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
so, and it wasn't just fentanyl, the synthetic opiate that Chinese chemist was making.
No, it wasn't fentanyl. If it was fentanyl, I'd have been fucking so dead. But
Over
it
and what do you think the Foxy was?
I don't know. It looked like it was like glittery, like pink pixie dust looking
Do
stuff.
you,
It was really pretty, but you could only do like a tiny. I mean, you couldn't do but like a small bump of that.
and what did it make you feel like?
It was kind of trippy, but it also just made it was kind of like some hardcore. It's like a sex drug,
Like
probably. Like
ecstasy, fucking
yeah,
meth,
yeah.
coke, meth.
Oh yeah.
I mean, like I've never done any research chemicals, but you hear about this 2C business. Like
Yeah.
it sounds like that. That's pink. People are,
Oh, is it?
yeah,
It may
it
be.
probably is
Maybe
that.
maybe somebody listening will be like, yeah, that's the same as Foxy. Maybe I don't
Yeah,
know.
Dopey Nation, if you know what the fuck Jen is talking about, please send in an email.
Please let us know
Let
because
us
I did a
know.
shit ton of it and I have no idea what it was, but it was fun.
Yes, it sounds like it was. Anyway, so fucking Chinese chemist is making you synthetic opiates, sending it, and your boyfriend is just like, are you pregnant at this time?
I'm pregnant. Okay. So when I got pregnant, I didn't do any of the chemicals. I was just doing um, the Roxys and the Klonopin, which is still bad. However, he got put on drug court. Like he got arrested or whatever. So he was on drug court. And I was the girlfriend at home that was all spun out and strung out, pregnant, looking like a fucking psychopath. And his drug court people told him that he couldn't live with me anymore because they knew, right? They were already on to us. So they told him that he had to move out of my house. And he did. He went back out to his parents' house and he begged me. He was like, "Will you please go get some help? Will you please, like, we gotta do something. I don't know what we're gonna do, but we gotta do something." So I was like, okay. So I went down to a therapist that it's not really a resentment, but like I refused to work with him today. But I went down to his office. It was the first time in my life I had ever been any kind of fucking remote honest with anybody. Like I was just like, I went in there and I sat down. I was like, listen, like, this is what's happening to my boyfriend, and I'm using, and I'm pregnant, and I need help. And he was like, okay, well, you go have the baby, because back then there really were no resources for pregnant women. It's been over 10 years ago. Like there wasn't really a lot, because pregnant women are like a big liability for centers and facilities and detoxes. Like I can't even get a woman detox if she's more than 5 weeks pregnant now.
Why?
And that's hard.
What's the liability?
Why?
Because the risk to the baby.
Just the risk of the baby. So I was like, I didn't really know. So I was like, okay, all right, I can do that. So I went home and I was like, I'm going to try to do this. And I started going to the OBGYN, the baby doctor, and I was honest with her. And I was like, okay, so I really wasn't all the way honest. I told her that I was going to this pain clinic. I didn't tell her about all the other stuff, but she was like, well, I was like, I'm on Roxy's, I'm on Klonopin. And she was like, all right, well, this is what we're going to do. We're going to keep you on it. We're going to keep you on it. And everything will be okay. And I was like, okay, well, I was an addict, Dave. Like I hadn't been clean since I was 13 years old. I had no idea.
Except for that little 28 days at Turning Point.
Little 28 days at Turning Point. And
they don't want to take you off the opiates or the Klonopin because they don't want the baby to go into shock, right?
Exactly, right. So I rocked on and did that the best I could. I didn't smoke weed. I didn't do anything. And before I know it, the drug task force at my door. And they are kicking that fucking thing in. And have you ever seen a house that's been raided by the cops?
Only on TV.
Dude, it was insane, man. Like they demolished my house. I had Jackson in a little glass blown vase, and they confiscated him.
Well, they probably thought it was Foxy.
They did. They did. They were like, "This is drugs," and I was like, "That is a fucking human being, dude. Don't take it." So, have you ever seen anybody fake a seizure?
Again on TV, but tell me. So so what'd you do?
I started flopping like a fish in my front yard, so they wouldn't take me to jail.
That's smart.
Because he was there right that day, so he took off running down the road butt ass naked because he was in the bathtub. I was flopping around like a fish in the front yard.
Were they trying to get him?
Yeah, they were trying to get him, but my mom and kid pulled up in the fucking driveway all while this shit was going down. Fucking crazy. So they took me to the hospital, and they got him. And I figured somebody would be waiting on me at the hospital, and they weren't. And so I had my best friend pick me up at AMA at the hospital. Didn't go back to my house. they never came to look for me, nothing. But I did get a call from DHR, and they were like, we need you to come down here and talk to us because you're going to go on a safety plan. My kid was then going to my mom and her dad. And um, I had track marks. I looked awful. It was just awful. The whole thing was just terrible. And
What's DHR?
DHR is Department of Human Resources.
And what
So it's like what do you guys call it? DCF?
I think it would be, would it be CPS?
CPS,
Child
Child
Protective
Protective
Services.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
so your mom pulls up at that exact moment and you're fucking fake seizing. Cypress is what, like 2 or 3 or
yeah,
something?
yeah.
And dude is off and running naked down the road. What does your mother say to you? Because your mom, you said before, no one ever went to you and said maybe you should get your shit together. What does your mother say to you when you next talk to her?
I don't remember.
You're
Dad.
fucked. You're fucked, basically.
I'm just so fucked.
I'm taking Cypress and you have to do your best, and that's that.
You just gotta figure it out.
So
Yeah. So DHR got involved. They took Sa. I'm at my friend's house. We go back to my house and try to like mend, put together, find clean clothes, something. And all of it's a really big blur. Like I was fucked up in the head. And so I tried to like get it together and like do the best that I could with what I had to do it with. And now I didn't know anybody clean. I didn't know anybody that was in any kind of program. I didn't know anything about nothing. And so I was just out here raw dogging it, like fucking trying to like do the best I could, you
hold
know?
up,
And
you
then
get out of the hospital AMA, you just go home.
I just go home.
And you're like, I mean, were you like, I'm not going to take opiates? Were you just going to kick pregnant by yourself? Was that the plan?
Well, the plan was to stay on what the doctor had given
Good.
me.
Okay.
And so I was really trying to follow what she wanted me to do. And I really tried to not shoot the Roxys. I wasn't doing anything that wasn't prescribed, but I was still like, I mean, I was fucking ripping and running still.
Mm-hmm.
Like it is what it is. And so by this time I was probably about 8 months. And I was at my mom's with Sai because I couldn't be with her by myself. And I woke up in, God damn, Dave. I woke up in a pool of blood at my mom's. And we got in the car and went to the hospital. And my little boy's name was Dakota Moon, and he passed away.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And so that morning, the cops came, DHR came again, and they were like, if you don't go to detox and treatment, you are going to go to jail and be charged with everything that dude was charged with immediately.
So they gave you a major break.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, I'll go to I'll go. So the next day, the Journey picked me up, which is in Talladega. The Journey Detox picked me up from my parents' house. I'll never forget this guy. He was like a muscle dude, and he had on a blue Nike shirt, blue hat blue shoes that matched, and jeans. This was before Narcan was a thing. Like Narcan wasn't. Maybe it was, but it wasn't here. And I had at this point, like I was just trying to die. Like I wanted to die, Dave. I had experienced something that didn't know that I could live with. So the guy called my dad somewhere along the trip, because it was like a 5-hour trip, and told my dad that he didn't know if I was going to make it to detox. I had taken, I think, 6 or 7 methadone pills and like 10 Xanax bars, and I was done.
Were you thinking? Were you thinking, I don't want to be?
Yeah.
Was it like a
It was
real
suicide.
suicide
Yeah, I was
attempt?
ready. Yeah, I was done. I was done. So that was probably like the darkest time in my life, dude, for real. And I didn't even know who I was anymore. Like I was completely fucking lost. And so I went down there, you know, I started detoxing, and I didn't really think that the court was serious, you know. So I was like, you know what, I'll go to detox, but I don't need to go to treatment. Do I look like I need to go to treatment? I don't need to go to treatment. I got this. I can figure this out. And I see a lot of people do that now that I work in recovery. I see a lot of people say that those exact words. And Lamar, he was the owner of the detox. He drove this little badass BMW, whatever the fuck. And I had met a guy in detox, and I wanted to go home with him. That's what I wanted to do. I was just not going to come back to Florence. I was going to figure out a way to just get away. Well, he told me he wasn't going to drop me off at the same place with this guy, so I tried to like kick out his windshield. And I ended up getting to Athens. My mother was there, the preacher's wife was there, and who I loved today, but that day, like, I threatened to throat punch her. But when I got there, they had gotten me a bed at a place in Nashville, but the cops were also waiting on me because they were like, they didn't know if I was going to go or not. So when I got to that gas station to meet my parents, I saw the cops, so I opened the door and like took off running down 65. And the cops tackled me and threw me in the back of the cop car, and I went to Lauderdale County Detention Center for 8 months.
On what charge? On all the possession
Uh-huh.
charges?
Mm-hmm. Because
So they
yeah,
gave you like a way out, and like you just could not take
I
it.
couldn't do it.
So you go kick in jail.
Yep. The rest of it, yeah.
How
Yeah.
how
It was
bad is it?
bad. I can close my eyes right now and still see myself laying on the drain of this holding cell with shit and piss and fucking throw up from God knows who, just fucking wanting to die. I was so fucking sick because even though I had been through the detox, like I wasn't done detoxing. Like that's not enough. I was so sick. I was so sick. Those girls kicked me out of like the big cell. They were like, "This bitch is fucking sick. She stinks. Get her the fuck out of here." I mean, it's pretty bad when you get kicked out of the jail cell by the other girls.
Well, you're also probably beyond distraught over Dakota.
Yeah,
You
it was
know, like
bad.
it can't. You know, you're like you have nothing left at that point. You
Uh-uh.
know, and all you have is this shame and this and the pain
Yeah.
of fucking kicking. Like I've kicked a million times in a million places, but never anything like that.
Yeah.
And how do they kick you out of the cell? How does that even
They were
work?
like banging on the door, banging on the window, and they were like, "Come get her. She's sick. She's gotta get the fuck out of here." So I went up to the holding cell. I stayed 8 months. They wouldn't give me a bond. They finally let me out. They put me on CRO, and they said, you know, you got to call this number every day, and if you come in and take your drug screen, you fail, you're going back to jail. So I called. I was at my parents' house, chilling because I didn't have anywhere to go. I had lost my car, lost my driver's license, lost everything, and I called a friend up because you can only hang out with your folks for so long. You know what I mean? They're starting to get a little squirrely. And well, before I called her, there was a lady named Lucy, and she's this little lady from the Bronx that moved here years and years and years ago and started a treatment center. And all the girls talked about this woman in jail. So I remember like getting the phone book out and calling New Beginning. And I said, "You're really popular in jail." And I'm like a drug addict and I just got out and I don't know anybody sober. I'm on CRO. I'm scared to death. Can you help me? It was the first time I had ever asked anybody for help. Well, second time, the first time I got shut down. So this time called her, and she was like, "Yeah, like meet us at the Chevron. We're going to a meeting. You can go to the speaker meeting with us." And I was like, "Okay, I can do that." So I met these girls at the gas station. They were like these caravan of cars. And it was all these chicks in these vans. They were all dolled up like they were going to the fucking like Grammys or something. And they were going to a fucking meeting. So I went with them and heard my future therapist share her story. And Lucy was like, "Listen, I don't have a bed open right now, but if you want to come in the morning, you can sleep on the couch until we can move some girls around." But really, that gave my disease like 12 hours to be like, "No, you don't want to go there. Don't do that. You don't want to do that." And so I didn't go. So I called my homegirl that we used to, I mean, I smoked crack sometimes, okay, but I didn't tell you that because I feel like it's irrelevant. We did all the drugs, Dave, okay? So she didn't smoke crack no more. So I was like, cool, I'm gonna go hang out with girl and like hang out and whatever. And I told her, I was like, I can't do drugs. And she was like, okay, well, you wanna go get some Four Locos? And I was like, I don't even know what a Four Loco is, but yeah, fuck it. Did a Four Loco, got super drunk, butt ass naked, took a Lorset while I was drunk. So the next day, I was supposed to call my color, and I did. My color got called. And I was like, fuck, man, fuck. So I didn't go. So I lasted, moral of the story, I lasted about 2 weeks before I went back to jail.
Explain the color thing to anybody that doesn't understand it.
So CRO color code is where you like, they give you a color. And every day you got to call that number. And if your color gets called, you got to go down and take a drug screen. So the
What was the
aggravating,
color? What was the color? Do you remember?
I think it was like yellow.
And you fucking drank Four Locos, got naked, and took Lorset because nothing would have
Oh
made you
yeah,
feel better than to take an opiate that night.
yeah. But that's the thing is that like when people talk about being an alcohol, you know, I can drink. I thought maybe I can drink. Maybe you can drink, but for me, when I drank,
Yeah.
it let my guard down, and I was like, give me what I really want.
Yeah, I feel like
You
that
know?
about everything. Like I feel like that
Yeah.
about weed. Like I don't smoke weed because I wouldn't be able to smoke it a little bit. Like it just wouldn't
No.
be the way I would do it. And then once I was smoking it a lot, I'd probably be on to the next.
Yeah, that's what I did.
So you go
So
back to jail.
yeah, I went back to jail, and then I went to then they let me out. I was there for about a week, and they let me out, and they court ordered me to that same place that I called, Lucy's place. And it's a year-long program, no phone, no social media, no boyfriend, no sex, no nothing. It is an intense cash pay treatment center. And I got fucking sober there.
So before that, like when they're like, if you test positive, you're going to jail. You're not like,
Hmm.
I'm dying to get sober. You're like, I don't want to go to jail.
I don't want to go to jail.
And then you go again and they court order you to the spot. Are you like, I want to get sober? Like when does like wanting to get sober even surface?
I don't know. I don't know. I can't even like. I don't really have like an answer for that. Like I think that eventually it was just like, well, you try to kill yourself. You couldn't do that, right? So I mean, you don't really have any other options here. You might as well just do what they tell you to do. So eventually, I surrendered to it because like what I found in that treatment center was what I had been searching for my whole life. Like I had. I thought that I was the only person on the planet that ever had experienced the things that I had experienced. And they may not have been exactly the same, but the pain was the same. And in that room, that was being shared. And I was like, okay, all right. And then, I started seeing girls like get their kids back. They were getting apartments. They were able to go to Walmart or Target or wherever and buy like the good shampoo or whatever. It was just like, wow, this is fucking cool. I can like this shit. And, it was just like seeing other women doing things that like, I was like, well, if they can do that, I can do that. And I ended up doing that. And so when I, uh, it was just a crazy experience because, I mean, you don't really, when you live the way that I lived for so long, that was normal.
Well, you know that cliche, like on one hand you can get high, but you can't really do anything else, and on the other hand you can do anything you want except get
Yeah.
high. It's like
Yeah.
that's what you start to see, right? When you're in
Yeah.
that spot. Did they take you to, was it, did 12 step like play a big part when you get there?
Oh,
Like
yeah.
how does your brain and your soul wake up, and what's up with your mother in Cyprus then?
So, Sa was still at her dad's. She was 6 when I went to treatment, and she was doing good, and I was able to see her. Um, and my mom was getting her, and there was a I just did everything that they asked me to do, like everything that they wanted me to do. Started ending up like enjoying being in treatment. Like I loved it. I had fun there. Some of my best friends to this day, like my sisters, are like still sober, and we still stay connected. And some of them moved away, but we still see each other. Like one of them's in Huntsville. There's like probably 8 of us that stayed sober. Even though I live in a really small town, like the recovery community is gigantic here. It's very, very tight knitted. There's so many sober livings here since then that's opened up. Um, but I did a lot of things. I remember being in sober living with this chick, Courtney, and she looked at me and she was like, because about then I haven't had a seizure. Okay. I was like seizure free for like a hot minute. And she was like, "So are you just going to like stay on disability for the rest of your life?" And I was like, "Yeah." Like, fuck yeah, I am. What the fuck are you talking about? And she was like, "You need to go get a job because you're not fucking epileptic. Those were the drugs." And I was like, "Okay." So I got off disability. And then this little lady used to come in. Her name was Beverly Peters, and I'll never forget her. She was a caseworker at this vocational rehab place across the river, and she would come and like try to get us to do like interviews and like buy interview clothes and like bus passes to like help us get on our feet a little bit. um I rode a bike when I got to the second phase because I had my driver's license taken for a year, but and I did that. And Beverly Peters was like, "You need to go back to school. You need to go back to school." And I was like, "I'm a high school dropout. I dropped out of school when I was in like the ninth grade. What the fuck are you talking about?" And she bugged me for, I don't know, maybe 2 years into my recovery. And I finally was like, "Fine, Beverly, I will do whatever the fuck you want me to do if you would just leave me the fuck alone." And so I went to college and like graduated. It was like a business degree. Shit, it was crazy. I did it. And then I was like the first person in my family to ever go to college. And now my kid's going when she graduates high school. So it's so
How did
cool.
you do it without, like how did it, like it seems like it really stuck. Like you didn't use again after that, right?
Nope.
So how did it stick? Like how, I mean, like how many people, I mean, you were still pretty young, I think, right? At that point.
I was 34 when I got sober.
It's pretty young. You're
Yeah.
34, and you're like, even just going to school, being around people that aren't all fucked up in addiction. Like I bet you a lot of people go out in that situation. Like they
Well,
turn.
here's what you do when it comes to school. This is what I found out. So if you want to go to college straight in, into recovery or early recovery, whatever, if you want to go back to school, they see addiction as a disability, so you can get ADA services through school. And that's what I
Mm.
did.
So
I didn't use it. I didn't use it much, but like if I needed it, I could get extra time on tests. I could record lectures. I can, do all that kind of extra shit.
do you remember like when your brain was like, I'm fucking not doing that. Like I'm doing this. Like this is what I'm doing. I'm not going back for any drug again. Cause it's like you were so in on being fucked up. And then all of a
Oh,
sudden you're not. Do you remember like when that changed? You're like, no. I don't.
No, I really don't. I really don't. I think about that. Like I've been asked that, and I don't really have an answer. I think what really changed my thinking was it goes back to jail, and I had no concept of what recovery looked like or what recovery was or spiritual principles or steps or anything, but I would see the same girls come in and out of the jail like a revolving door. Same charges, drugs, 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 drugs. And I was just like, that is crazy. You guys get out of here and you turn around and come back in 2 days? The fuck is wrong with y'all? That's crazy. I want out of here and I don't ever want to come back.
Jail was the one thing that really fucking did it for you, which is interesting.
Jail did. Yeah. But jail, it wasn't even like a really scary thing. Like, I don't know, this may sound crazy, but like when girls come into jail, when we come in spun out, we look like shit. We're underweight, we're malnourished, our skin is terrible. But I would personally notice women in there, no makeup, and they would come to life. Like they would get their color back, and they were laughing about stupid shit that we would have never laughed at before. It was like I saw women come alive, like I saw their spirits return into their bodies, and you could see it. And I think that like really kind of showed me evidence of like what drugs and alcohol were doing to me too.
And
Does that
it's,
make sense?
yeah, it sounds
It's
like
so
that.
crazy.
But that's where the spiritual awakening happens. Like
Yeah,
when you see the spirit awaken, you feel it awaken in you.
yeah,
And you're like, fuck this. I want to have this good shit.
yeah,
You know, I want to have
yeah.
this good stuff. When does Yellow Balloon Group stuff happen?
So I can't remember if how long we've been sober, 11 or 12 years. How long you got like a year longer than me. Anyway,
No, I only have 10. I got sober in 2015.
okay, so I'm at 11.
Yeah, you're much more sober than I am. Kidding
Well,
me?
not really.
Much
I'm
more
still
sober.
crazy. I'm super nuts. But I got I went to I met a guy in Huntsville and he took me to Sweetwater Festival in Atlanta. That was the first time I had ever saw Billy Strings. I got to see Keller again. Um, there's a bluegrass band called Love Cannon. So if anybody's listening, go check out Love Cannon. They're amazing. But I forgot who I saw. Panic there. Wasn't really into Panic. It took me a minute to get back into Panic over the years, but now I love Panic. But
Hold up.
um,
In all that time of using and insanity, are you still like listening to jam bands and still hippie adjacent? Or are you just like fuck just on drugs and you don't care?
towards the end, like when all the baby and the heroin and all that stuff, I wasn't doing anything. Dave, I didn't even smoke weed anymore.
Right. Right.
I wasn't even. I was just straight.
Straight
Yeah.
opiate.
But before that, yeah, like I mean, I still listen to all the music, and um, Jeff and I went to a Phish show when I was pregnant with Sa once. Um, but yeah, I just kind of checked out for a long time. I really did. Like I checked out like the last 3 or 4 years, the last 3 years of using, maybe two, and then I didn't go to any shows until I had been sober 5 years.
So you turn up at Sweetwater's.
Yeah, but there wasn't a yellow balloon thing happening at Sweetwater.
You were just
I
like
still,
having fun.
yeah, I still didn't know that about the yellow balloon. I had heard about it, but never really like checked it out or experienced it.
When you went to Sweetwater's 5 years sober, were you like, I can have fun at this thing? Like, what were you doing for those first 5 years to have fun? Or were you just like doing your work, fucking
Dude, the first 5 years of recovery, like I didn't date anybody.
5 years?
Yeah, I didn't date anybody. I didn't. I worked on at a place called Sacred Way Sanctuary, which is like a Native American animal sanctuary. So every day I fed about 200 wild mustangs and 15 buffalo and 20
Wow.
sheep. Yeah, I was out in nature with like my higher power every day.
And you
Um,
weren't eating mushrooms then on those fields?
no,
No,
nope,
no,
no. We
no.
were we were being real good. And I think that time, like I worked like a dude, like I drove a tractor and shit. And like, I think that time was really good for me because it helped me really get connected to myself. And then I didn't tell you this, but about 3 years into it, Cypress's dad, we went down to the courthouse and I got back on joint custody
Yeah,
with her. So I got
how were you getting along with him? Like
great.
when you were at your bottom, like how did he deal with you?
He was pissed.
And he was just like,
He was
"Fuck it,
pissed.
you have nothing to do with this kid." And
Yeah.
but he wanted to see you get it together though.
Yeah. Yeah. He did. Yeah. And now, like, we're great friends. Like, he'll come over here on Christmas Eve and do Christmas with us. We're just good. I know today that if he ever needed me, I'll be there and vice versa. We're friends now.
How did you get your custody back?
I went to him and did my amends, and then kept chugging along. Like I see a lot of women. They're like, "I want my kid back. I've been sober for 12 hours. I want my kid back." No, no, that's not how it works. And I wanted to get to a place where I was prepared. Like I wanted to be the mom that she deserved. I wanted to be the mom that I was intended to be. So I waited as long as I did because I wanted my own place. I wanted to be paying my own bills. I wanted to be independent, taking care of myself so I can take care of her. That's how it worked.
You knew you weren't ready until you were
Mm-mm,
ready.
I was not ready. No. I wanted to get through my steps and be solid and just, and I was getting her, but and here's the other thing. A lot of people, I mean, for me, I wanted that piece of paper signed by the judge
That
for
said you were
her
that you were fit.
that I was fucking fit to be her mom. However, what I've learned after I got that piece of paper doesn't matter.
Right. Right. Cuz I mean
You know?
my daughter's mother left me. I had a needle in my lap and she took the baby and they left me and I started visiting high, and I could only visit my daughter with my dad,
Yeah.
and it was demoralizing. And
Yeah.
I was high at the court, I was nodding out at the
Yeah.
court. And I didn't get any kind of overnight, independent custody until I showed a year,
Yeah.
on hair, hair follicle test. And then
Yeah.
I would get her 2 days a week.
Yeah.
Um, and then I fucked it up again. You know what I mean? Like I
Yeah.
started smoking weed again and taking benzos again. And I didn't, I got back together with her mom after being separated for 4 years. So I know the feeling of like not being around and it was the thing that changed my life more than anything
Yeah.
was not being able to, like, I didn't do it for the kid. I did it because I finally saw who I was when I wasn't capable of being a father. Like that was the moment for me.
Yeah.
And it sounds like it's pretty similar.
Yeah.
Like to get
Yeah.
it. And so like how does it work when you first get sober? How often are you seeing Cypress and how does your time with her grow?
So when I went to treatment, we would earn hold on. We would earn like a 12-hour pass, and then we would earn like um a whole day, and then we would earn like a whole weekend. So every time that I would go on a pass, I would get to see her. And then when I was started working on the farm, I got off disability. I was trying to stand on my own 2 feet. Like I would get her on like Friday. So I would get her on the weekends. So I was getting her and I was seeing her and I was working on mending our relationship. And then eventually into about the third year, I was like, okay, I think I'm ready. And I went to her dad and I was like, I'm ready. Can we do this? because at that point I was still a little sick, so I just like wanted that piece of paper as I thought it was going to change something.
It was going to
But
define you, but it wasn't.
yeah, yeah, I was like, I don't want to be one of those that don't, whatever. But I like ended up like figuring out that like the paper didn't matter. My relationship with my daughter was what really mattered to me. And by then I was at a place where, I was good with everything, and now like, I parent my kid off the 12 steps. I don't really have any other guidance, so like she's 18 now. She's here with me right now. We've been back together since, since I got sober. She's, has never really, she says she doesn't remember a lot of stuff. I ask her all the time, do you remember when the cops were in the front yard? And like, she was like, not really. And I was like, okay, well, took her to therapy to let her like, um, because I was trying to explain to her, I was like, I have to have somebody to talk to. And there's going to be shit in your life that you're going to want to talk about that you don't want to talk to me about, you know? But then she went and told her therapist that she found all my vibrators.
When did she find them?
I guess
Last year.
like 5 years ago. Well, probably about, yeah, she threw me under the bus all the way.
What did she say to the therapist? My mom's a total freak, and
She was like, I found my mom's vibrators. And and her therapist called me, and I was like, well, why is she going through my shit?
what does the therapist say to you?
She was like, I just wanted to comment, that your daughter found your vibrators. You might want to put them up. And I was like,
How
okay. I
many
was like, so,
how many vibrators do you have, first of all?
okay, so listen, I went to a bachelorette party because when I got sober, all my girlfriends, everybody started having babies and getting married. And so they were like wedding showers, bridal showers, bachelorette parties, all this shit. And so like I had won some in like a damn game or whatever.
Vibrator raffle at the bachelorette
Yeah.
party. Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. So I was like, Jesus, why you gotta throw me under the bus, child?
Were any like giant and scary looking?
Yes, there was one giant one that like suction cup to the refrigerator or whatever.
Okay. Did you ever suction cup it to the refrigerator? Okay. Um, when you first when you first started getting Cypress, did you get her full time straight away, or did it go 50-50?
No, it went 50-50. Like now, like it's been on this schedule for years. I get her on Thursday afternoon and I have her Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then I take her to school Monday morning. And the reason it's that way is because I live way out. I live like 20 minutes from her school, and her dad lives like 4 minutes from her school. So it's easier for her because she doesn't have to get up so early.
Right. So she's with him like most of the week and with you most of the weekend, and then the bleed kind of thing.
So he's with her Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and she's with me Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
And how did you become this crazy yellow balloon trusted servant person, and what does it even mean?
Um, Also, just real quick, I have to say this about Dakota. Like, I did a lot of work on that when I was in treatment. I did a lot of everything that happened throughout my addiction, all the crazy shit, all hit me when I got sober. I did a lot of fucking work on all of that stuff. And today, when it comes to him, like I go to a sweat lodge, I like talk to him. Um, he knows what's up and he saved my life. I would have never gotten sober had it not been for him. I wouldn't have done it. I'd be dead. So I want to say that about him. I want to honor him for that.
How often do you go to the sweat lodge?
I used to go every Wednesday. I'm hoping I'm going to go today for the solstice.
And when you would go, what would happen? Like how did you find that you spoke to Dakota? Like what can, because we advertise a sweat lodge at one of the treatments, and I always say potentially spiritually transformative sweat lodge. I did it one sweat lodge in years ago, and I didn't have much, it didn't have that much of an impact on me. But school me on sweat lodging, please. Sweats.
Sweats. I'll tell you, I want to So I got charged with Dakota passing away. I don't know if you know that. They like charged me with manslaughter.
No, I
And
didn't know
so
that. How does that work?
yeah. Okay, so they charged me with his death, and when I was in sober living, I got indicted and had to go turn myself in. So I went to jail in sober living. And I had asked our director if I could date this guy that I met in my home group. And bless his soul, we definitely loved Josh. He was a good dude. But I wasn't who I was supposed to be with. But and I was early in recovery, and it blew up like the 4th of July, like it should have. His sponsor was a neurosurgeon, and when I got indicted, had to tell Josh about it, and Josh, like he was supposed to do, went to his sponsor about it, and I had started going to a sweat lodge, and I went into this sweat lodge, praying for the acceptance of the outcome, not to fix it or make it go away, just for the acceptance of the outcome. I really am shocked that I shared about that on this podcast, because that whole thing still it still kind of makes me feel weird sharing it publicly, but um, I didn't tell anybody in that sweat lodge what I was praying about. I was just going consistently every Wednesday. And Josh's sponsor came to me and he was like, I want to see your records. And I was like, okay. So I went and got my medical records for him. And then another pathologist that was in my home group, he also jumped in. And then like 3 other doctors jumped in that Dr. Cass knew. And since what was in Dakota's system was prescribed by my doctor, they had to dismiss it
Thank
like it
God.
never happened.
Thank God.
Yeah. But they were ready to hang me. They wanted to fuck me up. Like they were after me. Like they were not playing with me. So like had it not been for like the program that I work and the community that I have, and I believe the sweat lodge that I was going to, I don't know if it would have really went down that way.
It also sounds like the sweat lodge was the primary way to work through the grief of losing Dakota.
It was. Yeah.
Like
Because
you,
when I go in there, I remember being in. I'm one of those that hits my knees when I go in. Like I don't play around with all this the steam and shit, 'cause it makes me not be able to breathe. And I remember praying about the outcome and kind of just like asking for forgiveness from him, because I was still really fresh. Like I hadn't been sober just a little longer than a year, and I felt him tell me it was okay, that it was all going to be okay.
it's amazing.
And
And
his
like
dad, his dad went to prison. His dad's still in prison till this. He's gotten out and then he went back. So
he went out for he went back for something else.
yeah,
And I mean you went to prison too. And frankly, like I think you deserve to have it be lifted. You know, I mean, it's crazy. And I think the most important thing is like that you're able to tell the story and you're out there actively helping people. And so many people go through hell, and to know that anybody went through hell and can sit here on this call and be healthy and beautiful and like radiate like potential. It's like, it's just amazing.
yeah.
Now, how did you get so ensconced in this yellow balloon business? Because like you're
So
fucking
that
in it, right? You're fucking
Yeah, the
deep,
yellow
deep in
balloon
it.
changed. Yeah, the yellow balloon community changed my whole entire life. Like, I have been and seen and met so many people, been to so many places that I would have never dreamed of doing and having these people 12 years ago.
Because
Like,
you didn't like keep up with normal 12 step shit, right?
mm-mm.
I know you didn't, because you don't know how long you've been sober. And if you
Oh,
and
what
if
do you mean? Yeah, yeah, dude, I went to my home group here. Like, I
you,
got,
you're
yeah,
still going,
yeah,
so
yeah.
why don't you know? Why how do you not know how many years you have and stuff? Like, why is
I
that not
mean,
a
I
thing?
used to really keep up with it, and when the day does come, I celebrate my sobriety birthday way harder than I celebrate my belly button birthday.
When's your day?
Yeah, April 14th, 2014.
Nice. And educate Dopey Nation on the nature of yellow balloon groups.
The yellow balloon groups are some of the most amazing group of people that I've ever met in my life. It doesn't matter what show you go to, as long as there's a yellow balloon table there, your people are there. Now, like, I don't think that, I think I know, I do a lot of the Dusty Baggy, I do a lot of the Fellowship, I do a lot of the Goose, do the table coordinating for the Goose shows. I just don't know I don't know what my life would look like without the yellow balloon groups. I really don't. Like, it gives me so much life. And I mean, it really gives you, I mean, for me, like, the yellow balloon community, like, upped sobriety on so many levels. Like, it's like gives me it's a whole life experience. Like, it's so, and I told you before, like, the whole, like, when you go to a show and you're like 20 deep behind the soundboard at Dick's in Colorado for Phish, and you look around and there's like 25, 30 yellow stickers around you, and you're just raging. It's like the most beautiful experience ever. Like, there's really nothing like it.
The
It's better
Dopey.
than any high I ever had.
Well, I mean, I believe you because you have such a beautiful life, you know, and you get to have fun at the same time, and you get to like go nuts at a concert, like and get out of your head. All of the dopey people that are in the yellow balloon world talk of you as like this leader, healer, like
Oh,
person that just is out there on the front lines and probably online, like really helping people. Like, does it come naturally, and like why do you think you're so good at that?
honestly, like, I've said this before, and I still believe that it's true with me, that, like, I want to be the person that I needed when I was going through my shit.
I love that.
Because nobody ever really asked me. They were like, Jen, you look like fucking Skeletor, girl. You look like you're dying. Like, you're getting your kid taken away. Like, you're seizing out. Like, you have fucking track marks all over you. Like, do you need some help? Like, I never had that. So now, when I live my life, like, I want to help people find what I have found, because it's there, you know? And sometimes, like, I didn't know that it was there.
Right. Like you can be the voice that you needed to somebody else.
Yeah, you can go to shows. You can go anywhere. It talks about it in the book. You can go anywhere as long as you're spiritually fit. Like, you can do whatever you want to do, but drugs and alcohol is not going to help you do it.
No, no. Is there anything you think you missed?
I don't think so. I think I really unloaded all the crazy shit that I've done.
How do you feel? You feel all right?
Yeah.
Hey, that was
Yeah.
really good. I thought you did a very good job.
It's so crazy though when we go, like, when we're doing the stuff that we do and we have the experiences that we have, where we like in that moment, that was so normal. Like, dude, that was not normal.
It's more than normal. Like when I think about it, it's like what I needed. It's all that I wanted. It's the only way that I could feel like I was okay. Like that's
Yeah.
the weirdest thing. Like, cause you look at the destruction, and back then, if I didn't have if I didn't have heroin and benzos and I always smoked weed, even when I was on heroin and benzos, uh, I, uh,
Mm.
I didn't feel like I would be okay, you know, and that's just such a weird thing. Like, cause yeah, everything you described was fucking crazy. But like, I bet you at the time you were like, if I don't have my drugs, I can't live.
No, I can't. Yeah, I couldn't. It was just the way that it was. But also, like, when I look back of all that stuff, like, I feel like there was like all of that was the, all of that was, I mean, I hate that I went through all that, but like, I feel like I had to go through that
You
too,
did. You did.
you know?
You had to because you did. And
Yeah.
like, and now, you know, you have this beautiful life. Your kid is going to go to college. She loves you. Like you just have a fruitful life that people benefit from the horrors that you did. I feel the same way. You know, I did a lot of horrible shit, but we would not be here right now had we not. We had to do it. We didn't have enough. There's nothing we can do about that. All we can do
Yeah.
is this
Yeah.
and make something good out of it. And making something good out of it is like, it's fucking amazing.
Yeah. It is really cool. And like, I just feel really grateful for, like, I don't know, sometimes when I think about the Yellow Balloon Group, like, I feel like my recovery here in my small town took me here, but then like I found the Yellow Balloon community and I'm like up here now. It's like it was like a whole nother dimension.
Oh,
So you
Cece told me to ask you about your meditation practice.
oh so in the I have 7 horses. I ended up like well, I actually ended up with 12 of those wild Mustangs from that
How
sanctuary.
did you wind up with them?
Well, when it's a long story, but like when at like 2 or 3 years sober, I found myself homeless because so shit went down on the farm. They had convinced me to move out there to the property, and so I did. And then they all got into this big family feud, and I had to move out. So I ended up, my spiritual mother bought me this house, and we inherited 12 of the Mustangs. And then I gave 6 of them away. I had 6, but then they had a baby, so now I have the 7. And every morning I get up and get my drum and do some Lakota prayers. I sing a song to them, and
To the
that's my
horses?
little, that's
You
my
sit
little
out.
ritual.
Hold on, you're sitting out there beating a drum and singing a Lakota Native American ditty. I want to see that. That's what I want to see.
Yeah. Come to Bama.
Maybe one day. Maybe one day. All right, Jen. Thank you so much. I think this is. I think we needed this. So, because
Yeah.
it's been a rough week, man. It's been a
Yeah.
crazy fucking week.
Well, it's the holidays too. I feel like the holidays make everything feel a little extra psychotic.
For real, yes. Especially we have, you know, the kids have been sick, and it's been crazy here. But I really enjoyed this, and I really appreciate you doing it.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It was cool. I'm glad we got to do it now instead of waiting and trying to figure out. I forgot that you were an hour ahead of me.
That's all right. When can you come to our Wednesday morning thing sometime?
Hmm.
All right, cool.
What time is it?
It's 9 here, so 8 there. You up
8 here?
early? Are you
Yeah.
up early?
Yeah.
All right, me too. All right, Jen. Fucking
Is it like a meeting or what?
it's like a meeting, but I like run it like a talk show. So it's like a non-denominational meeting. I just call on people. I make it like a newcomer kind of meeting where
Yeah.
whoever has a problem, we deal with the person's problem more than anything else.
Oh yeah. I
It's
could get in on that.
it's kind of
I
like
got
some
problems.
good, perfect. Come with some fucking. We need problems. So come with some fucking problems, and it's great to meet you and know you a little
Yeah.
bit.
Yeah, thank you.